Okay, so this is chair yoga class, and I have my chair set up, and I have a blanket on top of my chair. Of course, these chairs are not one size fits all, so we can make adjustments to make them a little taller, which I would like for me. Or if you need them shorter, instead of chopping the legs off, you can put the blanket on the floor in front or under your feet, and that will sort of bring the floor up to you, in effect, making the chair shorter. And I don't know if you can tell, my chair has a little scoop in it, so it's not the best for moving around on the chair. So you'll see me kind of scooting sideways so that knob on the corner there doesn't hit my thigh in the wrong place. So just make any adjustments that you need as we go, including um, not doing the movements as great as I do. So say you have a shoulder issue, and say it's your one shoulder. Don't do it like this. Don't make it lopsided. Just make both sides match to the ability of the side that doesn't want to go all the way. And so, and it goes for legs, hips, knees, anything. You just back off and or skip anything, and just pick it up again when we come to something that is doable for you. You can always email me if you have particular concerns, or want to focus on a particular area in the following week. That's fine. I'm a yoga therapist. So if you want to say, oh, could you focus on back pain or something like that, we can do that. All right. So let me go ahead and make sure I'm going to be in the view. Oops. All the way. Let me just take my socks off. It'll be easier to see my feet. You can have your shoes on, your socks on, but that'll be, let me just tip it down just a smidge more. Put these blankets in there. All right, how's that? Let's see if I can get those blankets out of the screen. Okay, oops. All right, how's that look? All right, pretty good. Okay, so the other thing is, as much as possible, scoot forward in the chair and not leaning back in the chair back. That way, you use your core muscles to hold yourself upright. When we lean back in the chair back, then the core muscles take a vacation, basically. So as much as you can, sit upright and not using that chair back to start to strengthen those muscles. And because you're using muscles that normally are taking a vacation, they're going to get fatigued. And so whenever you need to, then of course, just lean back in the chair back. All right, so let's start sitting comfortable, hands anywhere, eyes open or closed. And just take a moment to tune into your breath. You can hear mine's a little rattly or a little hyped up from popping up and down. And let the breath come to a nice calm place where you sort of follow the inhale in and the exhale out. Feel your feet on the floor. And you do need to have your feet in contact. So if your legs are shorter and your feet are dangling, it's best to bring something in underneath your feet. That also can cut in the thigh, in the back of the thigh, if your feet are causing that sort of weight down. So please do support up under your feet, pillows or blankets or something. All right, and so this is our first class of the new year, of the new session. So we'll start fairly gently and waking up certain body parts and getting larger and larger as we go. We're going to start with the hands on the lap, palms down, and just raising one finger at a time. Kind of hard to see you back there, so let me just show what that is up here. So just raising one finger at a time. That's my pinky, and then we'll put it back down, and then another finger, that's my ring finger, and going like that, just one finger at a time. You can do one hand at a time, or I'm doing both at the same time. And just keep them up for a breath and then put them back down. And then the next ones, the ring fingers are the most difficult. So you sort of have to talk to them. Those of you who play a musical instrument, piano or something, then this is easier for you probably. But for those of us who don't, we're going to go back to those ring fingers and lift them again. Don't forget the thumbs and hit those ring fingers again. So we'll do the ring fingers maybe 3 times. And then just wiggle the fingers around, and then palms down, and on the inhale, roll the palms up. Exhale, palms back down. And so we're going to do movement with the breath. Most of the movements we do, we'll try to link it with the breath. Now, my breath cues may not work with how the pacing of your breath is, so just do the best you can. We'll do most of the movements multiple repetitions, and so maybe I'll do 6 reps and you only do 4, or you do 10. So the repetitions may be fewer, but try to sync that breath up. All right, next time the palms come down, keep them down. And next we'll do what I call windshield wiper. So you're just gonna swivel the fingers to one side. The hands are going to the left or the right, and then to the other side like a windshield wiper. Side to side like that. And you can let your elbows get into it, and even the torso's getting into it a little bit. You're sort of twisting a little. And then we're going to make both hands turn in. So the fingers turn in toward each other, and then turn the fingers out away from each other. So you can see my elbows bend when the fingers turn in, and the elbows go towards straight when your hands go out. So let the whole arm and hand get involved, even though the instruction is down to the fingers turning in. That's your exhale. Fingers turning out. That's your inhale. Let's do a couple more linked with the breath. Exhale, fingers in. Inhale, fingers out. And that's the first thing to do, is get the movement down, and then listen to what was the breath again, and try to sync that breath up for maybe the last couple of reps. And if the breath doesn't come today or this week, try again next week. And hopefully one day, as the movement gets a little more familiar, then it'll be easier to sort of juggle that extra ball of syncing the breath up. All right, let's start again with the hands down on the lap. Exhale. And on the inhale, swing the arms out a little bit. Just the lower arms are working. Keep your elbows kind of close in to start. So we'll start with the smaller movement. A couple of these. Exhale, palms down. Inhale, palms out and up. And then let's start to make the movement a little larger. So the elbows are going to come away from the body just a little bit. Maybe the arms can go up just a little bit. So you're trying to feel what movement is comfortable for you today, not moving into pain, and just taking it larger and larger as comfortable for you. If you get in too deep, back off to someplace where you were before. And if you know this movement is not going to be pain-free for you, then just skip it and just rest with your hands on your lap. Otherwise, you're just kind of warming up the whole arm into the shoulder as much as comfortable for you. One more. Exhale when the hands come back to the lap, and we'll just pause right there. I'm just going to take my sweater off. I think it might be easier to see some of these movements. All right, and we'll come down to the feet now. So we're going to slide our feet on the floor. So this is carpet, so my feet easily slide. You can use paper plates if you have carpet and you don't slide. You can use paper plates, or if you're on hardwood, then a blanket or a towel on the floor, or sometimes your socks you can slide on. So find something that you can slide on. If you have furniture sliders that you put under the legs of furniture to slide it on carpet, those work really well on carpet as well. And I must have put mine someplace for the holidays. I don't know where they are, but my feet will slide on the carpet. So we'll do that. So again, scooch forward, and I scoot way forward right to the edge of the chair. So as much of my thigh bone is off the chair as possible. And we'll just do one leg to start. Stretch it out on the inhale, bend the knee and bring the foot back in underneath you on the exhale. And it can come even underneath the chair, going underneath. I'm going to show that from the side. You don't need to turn to the side. I just want to show it from the side. So on the inhale, the leg goes out straight. On the exhale, it can come way back underneath if your chair doesn't have a rung in the way. Otherwise, just bring the foot back to sort of your starting position. When the leg is straight, it's your inhale. When it comes back underneath, it's your exhale. In general, when a limb is bending, it's exhale. When it's straightening, it's an inhale. All right, let's go do the other side now. Inhale the other leg out, exhale it back in. For those, and I'm flexing my foot so my calf gets a little stretch, and we will point it some of the time, but if you know that the top of your ankle is tighter, you might want to point some to those of you who already know that. We're going to go back to the first side, and this time we're going to start to go out toward the sides. So kind of like different spokes on a bicycle. And here's where it starts to cut my thigh. So I'm going to just scoot sideways on my chair. I have a strap handy too, but we're not probably going to use that today. But just in general, if you can have a strap, we may sometimes use a strap, and you can use a scarf or a belt. Far out to the side as comfortable, and then don't pick that far one, but somewhere a little forward of that, and we'll hold there and take a point and a flex. That point gets the stretch across the top of the ankle, and then a flexed foot and circle around. Let the knee be soft and bend when you circle it around a couple of times in each direction. Warming up the ankles. And then if you have no shoes on, and you can spread your toes wide and curl the toes forward and flex them back. So wiggling the toes around a little bit to get them a little stretch, and then slide that foot back and work your way back up to the top. Inhale out, exhale in. And then let's switch to the other leg when you're ready. Inhaling the leg out, exhale it back in, and heading out toward the side spokes. It's just getting into the hip and the inner thigh there. This is a stretch we ordinarily don't do during the day, our day-to-day activities. So it's good to get those hip muscles, the rotators in the hips, and then back off somewhere in the middle there and take a point and a flex. The knee needs to be free and able to bend when you're working the ankle there. And let's do the ankle circles in both directions. And then bend the knee and work your way back up to the top again. Exhale when the knee comes in, exhale when the leg goes out. And when you're all squared up again, just pause. Now we'll work the spine in 6 directions, and I do have a handout on this. You can email me if you'd like that handout. And I'll put my email on my on place of the name for this, which I think is You Call This Yoga, but I'll change that to my email. So this is 6 directions of the spine. So on the exhale, we're going to round the spine. So roll the spine toward the chair back and drop the head down. Exhale. And on the inhale, put the spine in the opposite direction toward a back bend. The head can go up if comfortable for you and your neck. And repeat back and forth those 2 movements, a rounded spine and a back bend, adding the breath onto that. It's an exhale when it's rounded and an inhale in the back bend. All right, and then back to neutral. Excuse me. Back to neutral. So that was 2 movements of the 6, a forward bend and a back bend. The next 2 sets of movements are just movements that go to the left and right. So it's really just 2 more movements to remember. Let's do the laterals first. So let's start with the hands on the hips, but actually if you are using blocks, you can just get them set and ready to either side. You don't need the blocks, so if you don't have them, don't worry. You can, if you do have them, just have them for next week, but for today, we'll just have our hands on the hips. Inhale, let the spine lengthen so you get a little taller, and on the exhale, or lean to one side. Inhale, back up. Lengthening the spine on that inhale, exhale, over to the other side. And we're just going side to side like that. If you do have a block and you want to reach down toward it or to the chair leg, that can work. Inhale, back up. Exhale, over. So in general, start with a smaller movement and get larger and larger. So maybe chair leg first and then the block is a little further. You can use that. And you can also put the blocks down on a lower end if you want to go further toward the floor. Next time you go over to one side, just hold right there. So find a comfortable place to stay. If it's not comfortable, don't stay. Just keep going dynamically in and out of it like we did before. Let's stay for a breath. Let's work the shoulder blade tips in toward each other and in toward the rib cage. Shoulder blade squeeze in toward the heart. And then come on back up. Let's pause here and take a breath here. And wait for that next inhale to again lengthen the spine, and on the exhale over to the other side and finding a comfortable place to land, which may be on the holding onto the chair leg, or if you got a block handy, that works too. And we're just getting that stretch through the side waist there. You want to keep that back hip down. That'll help to increase the stretch. And those shoulder blade tips in toward each other prevents us from kind of rolling and rounding forward. Keep breathing. So we'll hold the pose, not the breath. And then on an inhale, come on back up and just pause here at neutral. So in general, we'll move dynamically just to make sure we can get in and out of the pose. And you can take it deeper and deeper as we go through more repetitions. And then we sometimes will hold a pose. And if ever holding a pose is not comfortable, don't hold it. Just keep moving in and out like we did before. All right, the last set of the 6 directions is the twist. So again, let's start with the hands on the hips. Exhale here. On the inhale, raise the arms halfway. And on the exhale, bring one hand to the opposite knee and the other hand goes back behind you anywhere. Inhale, come back out to center. Exhale, second side. We'll go in and out of this twist a couple of times with the breath. Exhale when you twist. Inhale to unwind back to neutral. Exhale, twist. If you want the arm movement to be greater, you can take the arms up as much as you like. And just see if that twist feels like it wants to go deeper. You can always back off if you get in too deep. All right, this next one will stay in the pose. So if it's not comfortable to stay, keep going in and out of it. We'll just stay here for an extra breath or so. Work those shoulder blade tips in together again and broaden across the collarbones. You can turn the head deeper in the twist if you like. And then wait for an inhale to unwind back to neutral, arms up. Exhaling into the second side where we'll stay here. Shoulder blades. Tips of the shoulder blades sneak in toward each other and in toward the heart. Simultaneously, that broadens the collarbone. So you can either think about it from the front body, the collarbones broadening, or the back body, the shoulder blade tips. Inhale, come back to neutral. And exhale, relax the arms down, and we'll go right into those first two movements of the 6 directions, the cat-cow movement. So rounded spine when you exhale, and a little back bend on the inhale. All right, feels good. So those 6 directions, moving your spine like that in 6 directions is important to do every day. So if you can remember, it's really 3 things: the forward back bend movement, and then the laterals to each side, and the twist. And as I said, I do have that on a handout. All right, we're gonna move through some movements to prep us for sun salute. So stretch one leg forward, put your hands back behind you, and then the other leg. And the hands back behind are just to make sure the chair doesn't tip. My chair is pretty solid and doesn't tip, so I can lift my hands up. But if you're just to make sure, that's a good way to come into it. Flex the feet and pull the toes back. You can spread the toes again if you don't have shoes on. And then sometimes we lean back in the chair. So really use your hands to help you sit upright, sit tall, from the tailbone to the crown of the head, nice and tall. And we're going to take one arm. If you need the hand to help steady the chair, just do one arm at a time. If your chair is steady like mine and you can raise both arms, again, any range of motion that's comfortable for you. We're going to clasp the hands together and turn the palms away from us. If you're just using one hand, you can just stretch through, flexing through the, how can you see that? Flexing the wrist backwards. I want you to, like you're trying to put your hand on the ceiling. And then bring the hands back down, bend the knees, hands back behind you, and push into the chair. Use your arm strength to push into the chair as though to lift your hips up out of the chair. So a little arm strength. We're going to do a few of these little push-ups. Your hips may or may not actually lift up. A lot of that depends on your arm length and your torso length. So some of us will get our hips actually up out of the chair, and some of us won't. So my arms are really long, so I can't, and I guess I'm short-waisted is what they call it. So my arms go straight, but the hips don't lift out of the chair. But it's still some arm muscle work for you, for me. So try to get your arm muscles going there. All right, we'll do maybe 5 or 6 or so of those, and then just relax them. You can shake the arms out after that. And then relax, and then we'll put the arms back there again. And you can, if your hands are getting tired of pushing, you can switch to your fists for this next one, which we won't do much of. It's a back bend, and we're just going to use the hands there to help emphasize the back bend. So you want to bring the bottom tips of the shoulder blades in toward each other, and you're not trying to push your waist forward. In fact, keep your hip points toward each other. Give a little tone to the belly. Pull the belly in, that is, and squeeze the shoulder blades in. So the belly's coming in, shoulder blades are squeezing in toward the spine. Both are coming in toward the spine. And let the collarbones roll up and back into a back bend. Head again goes if comfortable for you. And then release out of that. Just relax. All right, we're going to come down to the legs again, and just kind of marching in place, running in place. Tap in your feet. Wake the feet up. March them forward and back, even back underneath you. Tuck your toes under if you're barefoot, and back out. Waking up, take the feet wider and back in. All right, and then raise the heel of one foot up. You can feel your leg muscles preparing, or possibly the foot lifting up off the floor. If the foot wants to come off the floor, go ahead and raise the foot up so the toes come off, and deeper still is to stretch the leg towards straight and then rest it back down on the floor. Other side, heel up first. You can, that might be your work right there. Just hold right there. But if you want to go further, see if the foot will lift up and stretch the leg out and back in and down. We'll do that a couple more times each side. Just going to your place, staying in your comfort zone, in your current capacity. Just working the leg muscles here a little bit. Maybe, I think this is 3 times each side. So we'll pause right there. So that was more or less straight in front. We're going to take it out on an angle now. So roll the knee out, the heel is up, and then sort of kick the leg out and back in and down. Other side, turn the knee out, kick it out, and back in and down, and repeat. One more each side. Almost feels like you're kicking a ball away. Kick that ball away. All right, and then just relax. We're going to take some forward bending. So you want to bend from the hip hinge, right where your crease is, where the thigh and the pelvis meet, right up here. You want to deepen that crease and keep the back from rounding. I'm going to show this from the side. So you want to just fold forward at that hip crease. You can see I'm not rounding my waist, so it's not this. It's this. Keep the length from your head to your tail long as you fold over, kind of folding over my thumbs here, like that. All right, and we're gonna you first keep our thumbs right in there, or our fingers in there. Dig your thumbs into the crease right there. Lengthen the spine, and on the exhale from your belly, exhale as you lean forward, and then inhale to come back up. Exhale, look over toward your toes. Inhale, back up. When you inhale, coming back up, a lot of people have the tendency to kind of lift the chin. I want you to keep your eyes looking down and feel like a little balloon is on the back of your neck. So let's go over again. Exhale over. Now feel like a balloon inflates at the back of your neck. And that helium balloon lifts you up from the back of your neck. Let's do that again. Exhale over. A little balloon. So the back of your neck feels like it lifts up first. Exhale over. Back of the neck inflates to bring you back up. All right, now we'll take the hands over toward the knees. And as you exhale from the belly, let your hands slide down your legs toward your feet or toward the floor. Again, inflate that balloon at the back of your neck to come back up. We'll do a couple more like that. Exhaling over. Inhale, float back up. You can feel your core strength being worked to bring you back up and to take you over. All right, let's just pause here. I'm going to add arm movement in with that. So on the inhale, we're going to take our arms up. On the exhale, hands to the knees, exhaling from the belly, over you go. Inflate from the back of the neck up, arms up, you come up, and just float the arms down. Keep your torso upright. Let's do that again. Inhale the arms up, hands to the knees, over you go. Inflating from the back of the neck, up you come, arms up, and arms down. So in those few, we were getting the hands to the knees as quick as we could when we went over, and the hands kind of come up last. It's a little more work for the abdominal muscles and your back muscles if you keep the arms extended as you exhale over, and only at the very end drop them, and then lift the arms first. When the arms come to the height of the torso about, then raise the torso. I'm going to just show that from the side. So the arms go up and they stay extended as you go over until the end. And then they lift until they're about the height of the rest of the torso and bring that up. So that extra weight out from the fulcrum point is going to increase the workload of the muscles that have to work to bring you upright, basically your back muscles and your core strength. So only extend those arms and keep them extended. If you can feel that doesn't pinch in the back, there should be no pinching. You might feel the muscles working, but it shouldn't feel uncomfortable. If it does, you're not quite ready to extend those arms out all the way and keep them in a little closer to you, like we did before. And that kind of goes for all the poses. I kind of am going to step it up, step it up, step it up. And you might find I stepped it up beyond your current capacity today for that day. And so you just back off to the prior level and or just sit it out, especially if you feel like that jump, did something, then you need to rest it. All right. So I think we are all prepped for a sun salute now. So let's take a sun salute. Exhale here. This will be our start position. Hands on the thighs. Exhale. Inhale, the arms up. And a forward bend. So those arms can stay out or bring them into the knees right away. And then come on back up, not arms up, just let the arms slide up the leg. And we're gonna lunge one leg. So you're gonna raise the heel and or kick it out as much as you like. And then bring that back down. And we'll take what is a downward dog in a chair. So that's the legs extend out and you're gonna do some arm work. So push into the chair as though to lift your hips. And then a back bend. So then bend your knees, hands back behind you, and take a back bend. And then come back down. And there's another variation of downward dog in a chair, the legs extended and or bent, and it's basically the shoulder stretch. So any shoulder, any arm stretch that's comfortable for you. So the one I like is that clasping the hands and reaching your arms toward the wall behind me. That's a deep one. And you can do this one-armed and just switching the arms as we go, or just simply stretch the arms any old way. So that's the other downward dog. And then we'll lunge the other leg. So kick it out, and you can kick them out to the sides if you like as we go through sun salute again. Exhale, fold over the legs. And we're going to inhale up so you can extend those arms as you come up or keep the arms in close by. And exhale back to start. There's one sun salute. We'll do another one. Exhale here. Inhale, arms up. And forward fold. And we're going to lunge one leg. You can use your hands under the leg to help lift the leg. And back down. Downward dog with the arm strengthener. And then a back bend. And then the shoulder stretch in dog pose. And then lunging the other leg. Hold over the legs, exhaling. All the way up, arms up. And arms back to the legs. All right, now let's turn sideways on the chair, and you can be just to the corner of the chair or all the way around, all the way over. So the leg that's closest to your screen is the one we're going to work. We worked the leg on those spokes, the front corner, this front half of the spokes. So now we're going to work the spokes toward the back half. So adjust yourself so your thigh can drop down in front of your chair seat. And then start kind of pick up where we left off on the front, and exhale when the knee is bent, inhale when the leg goes straight. And just start to take the leg in those spokes on the back half. And you can turn your foot any way you like. So some of the time the toes tucked under and really working toward the back, and you want to stretch through that front of the thigh there. And some of the time the heel can be down and more flexing. So you can play around with that, which way you want your foot to turn. All right, and then pick one of those spokes to hold on somewhere in the mid-range back here. And we're going to lift the heel high and low. And I'm kind of rolling from the hip there. All right. And then try not to roll the hip. Try to have it be more in the lower leg action. And then bend that knee, bring it back in, and we're going to walk it around to the other side and do the same thing over there. So you can be at the corner or turning all the way to the side. I'm going to pick those spokes up where we left off. Inhaling out, exhaling in. Turning that foot any way you like. So you're working those rotators in your hip. And pick one of those spokes to hold on and roll the heel high and low. High heel goes up and down. And you can roll from the hip. Or keep the hip more or less in place. Just pick a spot more kind of in neutral and roll the lower leg up and down. So it feels like just the thigh bone in the hip socket is moving rather than the whole hip. All right, and then walk it to center. And just stretch one leg out and then the other. Kind of shaking the legs loose after all that. All right, and then let's go turn to the side again, all the way around to the side if comfortable for standing poses. Well, in a chair, it will be seated poses, standing poses in a chair. You're still sitting forward toward the edge of the chair so that your front leg, that's the one toward the screen, can drop in front of the chair. And then pick one of those spokes on the back side, anywhere as far back as comfortable for you. Sorry? Sorry, I can't hear the question. Oh, I think somebody's mic is on. I see it. Okay, so picking one of those spokes. And you can have the heel high or low, it doesn't matter. And then turn your body to face your other knee, your bent knee. So one leg's as straight as it's going to be, but you can allow it to bend as we go through these. And turn toward your other knee, and we're going to just lean forward. Exhale from the belly as you lean forward, and then back up and take the arms up. Again, your range of motion that's comfortable for you for warrior one. And then turn toward the screen, take your arms out wide for warrior two. Go back to warrior one, inhale, and fold over the front leg, exhaling. And inhaling back up, bend the back knee, and walk it around to the other side. Again, sitting forward toward the edge of the chair so your leg can clear the chair, and pick one of those spokes that you just warmed that leg up on to stay. And then turn toward the bent knee. Exhale, fold over that knee. Inhale, all the way up, arms up. Warrior one, turning sideways, arms out wide for warrior two. Back up for warrior one, turning towards your front knee. And exhale over that front knee. And inhale back up to neutral, turn toward the center. And we'll take a little cat-cow here. A rounded spine on the exhale and a little back bend on the inhale. Let's do a couple more of those. All right. Let's turn to the side again. We'll do standing poses again. We'll add on to that warrior one and warrior two that we just did. You can try different positions of that back leg, working it deeper and deeper, further and further back as comfortable for you. And the heel can be up or down, the knee can be a little bit bent. It's working towards straight if you want to work toward the full pose, but you have to keep the knees safe. And sometimes the chair, it keeps the hips stuck, so the knee then will be torqued. So I allow those knees to bend when we're doing yoga in a chair. Sometimes doing yoga in a chair is actually more difficult than standing, and this is one of those cases where it can be a little harder on the knees. Go figure. All right, turning toward your front knee. Exhale. Inhale, raise the arms for warrior one. We're going to stay here for a breath. Just go up on an inhale, exhale, and inhale there. And then on your next exhale, turn sideways, drop the arms out wide for warrior two. And again, we'll stay here for a breath. Squeeze the bottom tips of your shoulder blades together. Let the belly be a little toned. Good. And we're going to add on a pose here. Drop the arms down. Rest your elbow on your thigh and the other hand on the hip. And roll the torso, so the torso kind of likes to face more toward the floor. You're gonna roll it more toward facing the screen. Squeeze the bottom tips of your shoulder blades together, broaden across the collarbones. Let that back leg be as straight as it's willing to go today. And then come on back up to warrior two. Exhale here. And on the inhale, warrior one, turning. Exhale, go over the front leg. And inhale back up. Bend the back knee and come to face the center, the front. And we'll take a cat-cow here before we do the other side. So these cat-cows just kind of help square everything up in case anything gets tweaked. A few of these. And then over to the other side. And set that back leg, picking a position, maybe a little bit further or a little bit less, more or less. So different ones just work the muscles in a different way. And let that leg go as straight as it's willing to go. For just this first part, when we start moving around, you let that leg bend whenever it wants to. Turn to face your bent knee, your front leg. Exhale, fold over that leg. And inhale all the way up, arms up. Warrior one, and we'll stay here. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep your belly a little bit toned. And then turning sideways toward the screen, arms out wide. Warrior two, staying here. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Tone the belly. See if that back leg will go a little straighter. And then drop the arms down, one elbow to the front leg and the other hand to the hip for flank stretch. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, roll the rib cage and the torso toward the screen, toward the wall. Nice breaths. And then on an inhale, come on up to warrior two. Exhale here. Next inhale, turn and arms up for warrior one. Let's exhale over that front leg. Inhale back up and bend the back knee. Walk your feet forward and cat-cow. All right, just lean forward a little bit, shake the arms out and roll the arms in circles. Opposite direction. And then let the elbows bend, hands coming toward your shoulders, and straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Kind of just shakes out any work of the arms. And then let's come sit forward in the chair and we'll shake out the legs. Inhale the leg out, exhale it in. Do maybe 3 or 4 or so. Again, the number of reps may shift based on your breath length, more or less. Do some on one side and about the same amount on the other side. Let's say it like that. Inhaling out, exhaling, bending the knee. All right, and let's take a cat-cow like this. So slide your hands back towards your hips with the back bend movement, and on the exhale, hands towards your knees. Drop the head down, rounded spine. The head can go up on the back bend, only if comfortable for you and your neck. Inhale, roll the eyes up as well. Roll the eyes down toward your tongue, up toward your forehead. Even if the head doesn't do that up movement or down movement, the eyes can. And then come to neutral. Keep your head on straight and take your eyes over to one side. Both eyes stretching, left and right eye. Reach them just a smidge more, see if you can see an extra millimeter. And then relax the eyes at center and blink a couple times. And then as you're ready, go to the other side. Work them way around, as far around as they will go, and maybe even an extra little millimeter, stretching those eye muscles, and then relax the eyes. Let's palm the eyes on the exhale. You can round the spine a little bit, and then slide the hands down as you go toward, don't go to a back bend, just to neutral. Exhale, rounded spine. Inhale up to neutral. If comfortable, to palm the eyes, and it's more comfortable if you don't have glasses on, I think. So you can, if you have glasses on, remove those to enjoy this. So your palms are just cupping over the eyes, not pushing on the eyes. Trying to block out all the light. When you can block out all the light, those eye muscles really relax. And when the eyes relax, the rest of the body starts to follow. And then we'll slowly slide the palms down, fingers spreading wide, and rest your hands down. And you can rest back in the chair back now. Hands anywhere that's comfortable for you. Let your eyes soften and the forehead soften into the temples and down the cheeks and jaw. Release your tongue. Soften down the throat, the back of the neck, sides of the necks, down into the shoulders. Across the collarbones on the front and the shoulder blades in the back. Down the arms into the fingers, both sides, left and right. And from the shoulders down the torso, front, back, and sides of the torso, down into the pelvis, into your hips. And from the hips to the knees. Knees to the feet. And just be aware of the bottoms of the feet on the floor. Let the breath go very quiet. And then you're more than welcome to stay there relaxing and just slowly begin to bring movement to your body whenever you're ready to wake up. Until then, I will say namaste.